Before we get going, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that the Sound Fraser is on the traditional unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish people. And we're delighted to be here. We have a beautiful campus here at Harbour Centre in downtown Vancouver, where we're presenting to you from. I'm Teddy Cosco. I am the Grad program chair, so the main point of contact for talking about the program at a high level, asking questions about what's involved and how to go through the process. I'm joined today by the School of Public Policy's esteemed manager, who is really the nuts and bolts. It's Brian Chand. Anything like the nuts and bolts of how the program operates with like admissions and finances and that sort of thing. He's the go-to. Also, we have Morgan Parr, an actual real-life student in the program who can provide some perspectives from these students themselves and answer any questions and provide some information on what it's actually like, because it's from my side of the desk, it's a lot different than Morgan's, so she can give you a real-world perspective on the program itself. So I'm going to share my screen with you all and got a little bit of a presentation with some slides. These will be available, so don't need to write this down or anything like that. These will be available to everybody after the fact. And again, this is being recorded, so if you have any questions, you can ask them now. And you can pop in the chat and we can get to them at the end, and we'll do it. The hope is that we'll have a lot of time for Q&A. A lot of this information is available on the website, but I can go through it, sort of flesh it out, give you some sort of commentary and insights above and beyond what's on the website. So, summer 2025. As mentioned, this is my long form fancy name, but please call me Teddy. I'm the grad program chair. As mentioned, I have Brian and Morgan that'll be talking this today, as well as me. What we're going to try and cover in this hour, my hope is that the bulk of it's going to be Q&A, but at the outset we'll talk about why on earth would you want to study public policy. If you're in this meeting, you have some interest in it, and we'll hopefully this will give you some more insights into why you'd want to study it. We'll talk about the school itself and going into the master's program, what that looks like in terms of the content, the courses that you take, looking at a high level, sort of the areas of expertise in the faculty, that sort of thing. And then I'll hand it over to Brian, who will give you a more in-depth look at the admissions process, which is a critically important component to getting into the program, and sort of how that works, the nuts and bolts of actually applying to the program. And then Morgan can open it up to chat about student experience, and then we'll open the floor up to all the participants, everybody in this meeting, to question and answers. And I think it's the most valuable part, because you can ask to give a specific question about your circumstance that you don't have information on the website. Far away there. And then we'll give you information on how to get in touch. And I have a link that you can actually book meetings with me directly online, and I'm happy to chat further about the admissions process, about the content of the program further after this presentation. So, why public policy? Which is a big question I think a lot of us are asking. I think that at its core, this is a real world issue that we're looking at. Public policy at its core is real world problems and their solutions. And this is looking at things at various levels of government and industry. And it's difficult, from my biased perspective, to think about, it's more of a question of why not public policy? It affects every aspect of our lives, and within the School of Public Policy, we have expertise for everything from climate change, cost of living crisis, toxic drug supply, and human trafficking. And the sincere hope is that by actually studying and getting involved in public policy, you can turn the passion that you have for specific areas, content areas, into for a longer-term, equitable, sustainable city, province, or country, and trying to enact real-world change into the world we live in. And I think it's such a wide-ranging thing that we should all have an interest in public policy, in my biased opinion. So about the school itself and why would you want to study at SFU Public Policy? We're physically located downtown Vancouver. So this spaceship-looking building you see in the banner is actually where we are. We're right on the waterfront. And at its core, we're trying to look at real-world change, tackling some of the most complex issues in society, everything from health to social inequities to Indigenous rights, et cetera, tons and tons of different issues. And we have a strong track record of training students that go on into public positions. Policymakers across the country are alumni of this program. And we have a really strong breadth and depth of expertise within the faculty. And it provides an experience, in my biased opinion, that really is preparing students to go into the real world and be effective change makers. So we have a whole host of faculty members that are experts in different domain areas. These are a few of the faculty members. Myself, my background, I'm a chartered psychologist. I trained in epidemiology and I study mental health. And so I'm more on like the health side, but then we have people that are, geographers that study the housing crisis. We have, poli-sci grads that study things like forced labor. And there's a real breadth of expertise. And I would strongly encourage you to look on the faculty page to get some more insights into who the faculty are and look at how your interests align with faculty members. There's part of the program that I'll get to later on is you're assigned a supervisor and you work closely with them to do a capstone project, and having an alignment with an area of expertise that you're interested in with a faculty member that has that expertise is a really excellent way to get the most out of the program and to really develop a skill set that's going to make you prepare you to go into the real world and work in whatever area of policy you so choose. Some of the features of our school, as I mentioned, in my very biased opinion, we have a fantastic faculty, really nice human beings as well, very open to chatting about ideas, and but also have like a strong research track records and practical track records in policymaking. We keep it a small program. It's a cohort program, so there's around 30 to 35 people in each cohort. So you go through the whole program together. So you're with a group of people and you go through the whole program together. So you're all experiencing the same things at the same time. And this is something that Morgan can speak to as being part of a cohort and what that's like. We have a co-op program, which is a paid, importantly, employment opportunity. There's a co-op manager that'll help you find a placement, and then you get the opportunity to work in an area of interest, and you can be supported by the co-op manager who will help find you the job. We have a real focus on research. The faculty have excellent research track records, and we host an active seminar series, and we have presenters from all over the world come to give talks. The BC Priorities Project, which I'll talk about in a bit. We have an excellent track record of students being placed in good jobs after they graduate, and lots of people they'll do a co-op and they'll work with whatever ministry or work with whatever group, and the people that hire them as a co-op student like what they're doing and they get hired afterwards. So it's a really common thing that happens. As I mentioned, there's really strong research within the department. A number of different labs, like the Restructure Lab, led by Dr. Genevieve Barron, looking at forced labor. I run the Precision Mental Health Lab, which is looking at mental health across the life course, and lots of opportunities to get involved in research. Host networking events and connecting people to alumni. And as mentioned, there are alumni placed in policymaking positions all over across Canada. And there's a direct link with the alum from the program. And so there's lots of ways to meet people that may help you get a job down the road. And the the SFU campus itself, SFU is known as for the Burnaby campus, which is outside of Vancouver, but we're physically located at Waterfront, and we are directly across from Waterfront Station. If you've been downtown Vancouver, which is very handy, it's like in the vibrant heart of Vancouver. Um, and we're right next to international studies, the BD Business School. So we're really in like the heart of the downtown campus. So this is an example of some of the co-op placements. People work all across different institutes, research, industry, and government. And this is just a sprinkling of them. It's a real variety of opportunities that people have within the co-ops. And examples of some of the policy spotlight speakers, we have a lot of people that come from different places around Canada to speak to the students. And it's great because it's a small cohort, 30, 35 people. And when we bring in a speaker, it's a captive audience with a small group of people. So you have, you can ask those burning questions of people that are in these positions in a small group. So the BC Priorities Project, and this is it's really like a practical project at its core. It's looking at working with actual policy problems that exist in the real world, not hypothetical ones that exist in a textbook. And it's embedded within the year one courses, and it's working with external agencies to actually look at actual issues. So rather than doing a hypothetical example as a thought experiment in a textbook, this is real world problems with real world people. And so it gives you a flavor of the intent of the program wanting to have real world impact, and gives you a practical experience in dealing with these types of challenges. A few of the research institutes we have, I mentioned the Restructure Lab led by Dr. LeBaron. And also we have the Center for Public Policy Research, which is a very vibrant research group that conducts research in a variety of different areas, brings in speakers, and they're really a vibrant hub of research within the school. So getting into the public policy program itself, and this is the gem in the crown of the School of Public Policy is this program. And this is a brief overview of what it looks like. There's a lot of text in here, but the crux of it is it's 2 years, it's full time, and it says 5 consecutive semesters, which you're looking at, fall, spring, summer, and then spring and summer again, and then you graduate in the fall. So it's 70 credits, or 70 units rather, that you're required to get the degree. Each course has a different credit value or unit value. They're usually 3, 4, or 5, and the cost per unit is a multiplier of this figure here. This 311.84. So you have 70 units multiplied by that is what ends up being the total cost for the course. As I mentioned, it's cohort based, and in terms of the students that come into the program, most have some experience, professional experience, but it's not a prerequisite. It's good if you have some, but not mandatory. And equally, students come from a variety of different backgrounds, poli-sci, law, business, anything you can think of. Generally, people have come from that sort of background. So there's not a sort of cookie cutter applicant that we are looking for. It's really a diverse cross-section of students that we're hoping to try and capture. And I think the diversity of perspectives that are brought to the table by the students and within the cohort really expand the experience that you get, because you get to interact with people that have different experiences and are looking at different problems from a disciplinary background that may be different than yours, and gives you that perspective. So the curriculum for the first year, it's all the same in terms of the cohorts go through the program together. So in the first term, you take the 4 core courses. Spring, you take 4 core courses. Of note, what we call at SFU September to December is fall term, and what other universities call winter term, we optimistically call spring term, which is January to April, just to clarify. And then summer is April to August. So you do coursework in the fall and the spring, and then in the summer you do that paid co-op practicum, and that's your first year. Then the second year, you'll do 3 or 4 elective courses. So these can be elective courses within the School of Public Policy, or they can be they can also be outside of public policy. You have to ask me in my capacity as grad program chair whether or not you can take the courses, but generally speaking, if you have a good rationale for why you want to take a course in, psychology or gerontology or whatever it might be, or urban studies for that matter, then you can take an elective outside of public policy. And then the final piece is the research project, and that's in the sort of where you'll be assigned a supervisor and you'll work on a real world project that has primary data collection, where you're using all the skill sets that you have accrued across the course or across the program rather, into a final research project, and then you're done. So you can, in terms of the finances and awards, this is something that Brian can speak to as well. I can give you an overview of it. So there's 2 buckets for financial support. There's a needs-based and a merit-based. And needs-based include where there's a financial aid program that is based on your specific needs, and you have to go through there's a bunch of criteria that you need to fulfill to access these funds, and that's something that I'm happy to talk to folks about. And then the second bucket is the merit based, and these are your sort of traditional scholarships, and these are grad fellowships, awards, that sort of thing. And some of these are awarded at admission, so when you apply, you will be awarded them. And then there are other ones that you can apply for where there's an actual application process external to the automatic one at the beginning when you apply. And these are things I'm happy to chat with students about. If you're interested in applying for these sorts of scholarships, very happy to chat about those. The co-op. So this is, as I mentioned, this is a real world experience where you get paid to do a job in a practical setting. And typically they are 3 to 4 months, and during the summer. And historically, people will get paid between $23 and $32 an hour, which is reasonable. Vancouver is an expensive city, but this is, calling it like it is, that's sort of the typical amounts that we see. You can continue to work afterwards. Some students do that. I would be cognizant of the timing that you have if you want to work part-time. It's an intensive program, so it's something to consider. But the crux of the co-op is that you get to work in a practical setting and get paid. And with that, I will hand it over to Brian, who can give you some insights into the admissions process and a little bit of an overview of that one.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for attending the info session for the public policy program. Thanks, Teddy, for handing it over. And I'll give you a sort of a general overview of admissions. Just going back to the part about funding, we do have something called BAS funding, which is internal funding for graduate fellowships. We have every year it varies, but we have somewhere between 20 to 25 $7,000 graduate fellowships that we offer upon admission. So you could get up to 2 fellowships, so 7 times 2, $14,000 upon admission. Most of our incoming students for this fall cohort received 2 fellowships totaling $14,000. So that offsets quite a bit of the cost. The tuition is approximately $23,000. So with the $14,000, if you qualify, plus the co-op income, if you get a placement, it's very affordable. So going back to admissions now. Just the next slide there, Teddy. So generally, for most of our grad programs at SFU, you need a bachelor's degree. In any sort of discipline, we accept students from the arts, sciences, engineering. The typical or the minimum GPA requirement is 3.0. Most of our students have GPAs above 3.0, usually close to 3.5. But it does vary. Yeah, we do look at applications holistically. We look at work experience and other factors. But yeah, the minimum is 3.0. We don't need a GRE score if you have graduated from a university in Canada, the US, the UK, Australia, and a couple other countries. So we typically don't see too many GREs, but if you have one, you could submit it. TOEFL scores only, and IELTS scores if you graduated from a country that their native language is not English. We do need a TOEFL or IELTS score. Let me just I'll just put up on the chat here the how to apply link, which houses all this information as well. Other components we need, a resume or CV, a letter of intent. So the rubrics for the resume, the letter of intent is on that link there. So what to include and that sort of thing. Transcripts. Yeah, we don't need official transcripts. When you apply, you could just upload your own copies of PDFs or scans. Eventually, once you're admitted, we do need official transcripts sent directly from the institution to our portal, which is gradapp@sfu.ca. So you'll get that information later on once you're admitted. We do need letters of recommendation as well. We do prefer at least 2 of them from academic sources, so former professors. Sometimes we get applicants that have been out of school for several years, so we do accept professional references as well, like your supervisors or managers in lieu of academic references. So yeah, we look at academic excellence, so your GPA, policy, interest, and experience, which you outline in your letter of intent or outlined in your letters of recommendation. Yeah, so we look at everything together and make a decision. We have a committee, including Teddy and other faculty members that meet and make decisions on applications. All right, next slide, Teddy. Yeah, so that's the same link that I've entered on the chat there. We ask, you gather your application information, supporting documents as soon as possible. Sometimes it takes a while to get access to your transcripts, to alert notify your referees, put together your letter of intent. I know most of you are probably working, but yeah, try to get as much information together as soon as possible. You apply online. There's no need to send in any paper documents, but transcripts, you may need to send those over by mail, but most institutions send transcripts electronically, so that should be okay. All right, next slide there, Teddy. So yeah, the general requirements. So there is an application portal. So if you click on that link that I put up, there's an Apply Now button, which takes you to our system, which is called Grad. You just need to create a profile, submit your application fee. It's $110 for domestic students, $150 for international students. And then you'll see then the next day, once your payment is approved, you'll have full access to the application portal, which will have places to upload transcripts, upload your resume or CV, your letters of reference. So for the letters of reference, you would just enter your referee names and emails, and they'll be automatically sent a link to confidentially upload your letters of reference. Letter of intent, on our website, you'll see what's required for the letter of intent. Basically, it's a letter explaining to the committee why you wish to take the MPP degree, and kind of list your background and research interests. All right, next slide there, Teddy. So GRE, as I mentioned, if you graduated from a school in Canada, US, UK, European Union, or Australia, you're exempt from the GRE. We don't need the GMAT or anything like that. So just basically just your transcript. We do our own in-house GPA calculations for your transcripts. So no need to send in one of those, world education reports or anything like that that converts your GPA. We do that in-house. We do, for those that have been taught in a language other than English, a TOEFL score, there's the minimum there. We also accept the IELTS. The minimum is 7.0 for IELTS. There are some other English language tests we accept, so please be in touch if you've taken another type of English language test. There are a few more options available now. The program is 100% full-time. We don't have any sort of virtual classes online, hybrid or part-time programs associated with public policy. All right, next slide there, Teddy. So yeah, our application system is closed now, but it'll reopen mid-October on October 17th. Grad is the website. We run admissions from mid-October to the end of January. Please submit your application as soon as possible. We are possibly changing our admissions acceptance process. This year we started admitting students in January, so because we had quite a bit of interest in the program, well over 100 applications for the program for 35 seats. So and I know some of you or most of you are probably working, and you need to kind of sort out leaves and that sort of thing, or find housing if you're from outside of Vancouver. So we do our best to admit students and get you a result early in January or February. But all offers are out by the end of April. But yeah, just be in touch if you get an offer from another school and you're waiting for an offer from us. We'll try our best to get you a decision. All right, next slide there. Okay, now over to Morgan. Yes, yeah.
Great, thanks so much. Thank you all for making the time to come this afternoon. Or this, I guess it is the afternoon now. My name is Morgan. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a graduate student in the program, and I'm also the co-chair of the student caucus alongside my classmate Akam Jote. Unfortunately, she couldn't join this afternoon, but she left me with some really great notes about her experience in the program that I want to share with you, and I also will be sharing a bit about my experience as well. So I'll start with what Akam Jote has left here for me that she wants you to know. So you've already heard from Teddy kind of the course layout. It's fun to do these courses in a cohort setting because it really gives you an opportunity to get to know your peers really quickly, right away. You're all taking the same courses at the same time, so a good opportunity to kind of develop study groups or, make connections that way. Akam Jote encourages you to create either a Google Calendar or some kind of a digital calendar to just keep yourself on top of everything going on in the program. And always to look into available scholarships, bursaries, or funding earlier rather than later. Because oftentimes, the money is there, but people don't apply. You'd be surprised how many people don't apply. So always try to be on it because there's a good chance of getting funding either through the school or externally to support you with that. Econjote also emphasizes the opportunities to get involved in the school. So there's the caucus that we're a part of. There's also like the Graduate Student Society. There's as Teddy mentioned, the CPPR like research seminars. And then on campus as well, there's different opportunities for like social events and self-care. So Econjote highlights there's fitness classes that take place on campus, and good opportunities for mental health support and counseling services. And yeah, I think that's about it from what she has left for me. And then just coming from my own perspective of the program, so I came into the program with a background in social work. And what I really love about this program is that there's so many diverse skill sets and backgrounds that come in. So in my cohort, there's one other person with a social work background, but other people in my cohort have a law background, international relations, economics, poli-sci, even I think we have like someone with like a pharmacy background. So as Teddy mentioned, public policy kind of encapsulates so many parts of what goes on in our world, that it kind of happens everywhere. And so this program really reflects that, and doesn't discriminate in your application if you didn't do like poli-sci or something that you might think would be more geared towards public policy, because so much there's public policy in everything. And then in terms of like what the coursework is like, what I really like about it is that there's a good, I would say, balance of like kind of written assignments, as well as actual hands-on learning opportunities. So one of these learning opportunities is the BC Priorities Project, where you're put into groups of maybe 3 or 4 people, and you're partnered with usually like a provincial ministry. So I was partnered with the Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, and they give you a real life policy problem that they're currently dealing with, and you are given 3 to 4 months, an entire term, to conduct original research on the issue, come up with some policy options, and then present your findings. So, I thought it was a really cool way to actually do some of the work, and to not just like practice memo writing, which you'll do in a lot of your assignments, but also get feedback from real world professionals on the options that you're presenting and how you present them. What else do I have here? Another really cool thing about the program is the option to kind of tailor your assignments towards your interest area. So when I went into the program, I kind of have more of an interest in social policy, given my social work background. But there's another part of me that's like, maybe I'm interested in environmental policy. So throughout my assignments, I'm able to kind of tack in those different interest areas to explore. Or if I'm 100% in on health policy, let's say. So you have the option to do each of your assignments with that being the focus. So the professors really want you to kind of build up your portfolio or repertoire of experiences in the direction that you want to go with your career. So lots of open-ended assignments to be able to pull from your own interests. I think that's probably a lot of information from me right now. So maybe I can open it up to any questions that people might have for myself about the kind of student experience, or for Teddy or Brian about the actual more admin side of the program.
Yeah, fire away if you have any questions. You can pop them in the chat as well, if you want to do that. And otherwise, yeah, feel free to raise your hand, unmute, and ask a question.
I mean, if you have any questions after this info session, please feel free to email me directly. Let's pop in my email here, mpp@sfu.ca. Yeah, anytime. There's a question from Hannah there.
Yeah, I think I can take that question just based on my experience and my classmates kind of heading into the co-op thing over the summer. Yes, I would say in general, the job market is indeed kind of tight at the moment. The great thing is for co-op students, especially with government positions, is that there often tends to still be funding for students, and that those like budget cuts don't necessarily apply to student positions. So I don't know, I can't give like a solid percent of how many people got co-op this summer. I would say the majority did, not necessarily with the government, but there's also nonprofit or private agencies as well. If you don't get a summer co-op, it's nothing to be too concerned about. There is the option to do a co-op in the fall, part-time, or full-time if you can balance that with your course load. And also a co-op isn't necessary to graduate. That requirement has been changed. So it is great to get experience and to have some extra cash, but it's not the end of the world if you don't get one. And then to answer your question about the courses, they are fully in person, unless in your second year, if you are requesting permission to take a course from a different program, they may have something that's like hybrid or online, but within the School of Public Policy, the courses are in person.
Quilla is asking about how they make their applications stand out. I've been with public policy for almost a year. I help with the last cycle of admissions. We do look at the letter of intent quite closely. I know, some programs strictly look at GPA and GREs and things like that, but the admissions committee, they do take quite a bit of time to look at the CVs and read through all the letters of recommendation and letters of intent, and not just admit based on, a 4.0 GPA. So yeah, no, we do look at applications holistically, and take into consideration all aspects. So lots of clubs and work-related experience. That's hugely important. We want a balanced class of not only our top scholars, but a good mix of work backgrounds and different industries as well. So I suggest you just enter all that, enter your background on the letter of intent and CV.
Yeah, and just to expand on that, like I think that the thing that you can do to stand out is tell your story. Like there's no like cookie cutter, so the applicant that we're looking for a diversity of experiences and perspectives and that sort of thing. So tell a story about why you're interested in and what you're interested in, we consider a lot of things that are above and beyond just GPA. And I generally chair the admissions committee, and we're looking at people that are going to add value to the program, and that can be adding value in a number of different ways. And GPA is one aspect of your profile, but not necessarily the be all and end all. And part of the we have a community on anti-racism and equity committee that participates in the admissions process, and they're looking at different factors because we want it to be an inclusive environment and one that brings a lot of diversity of perspectives. And so that's my long-winded answer. The short answer is just tell your story and why you're interested, and try and make it as compelling as possible, and then go from there.
Right. Thanks, Teddy. There's a question about taking electives outside of SFU. I do believe we have an arrangement for a Western Dean's Agreement. So any school that's part of that Western Dean's Agreement, you could work with Teddy and I to, just send us that course outline, syllabus. And if we approve it, there's a process through our Graduate Studies office, some forms to fill out, and for our Grad Studies department to reach out to the Grad Studies department of the other school and sort out registration and things like that. But so that process takes maybe a month, 1 or 2 semesters. So you want to make that decision if you want to take a course, let's say in the summer or in the fall, just 2 semesters in advance. Let us know, and we'll get you all that paperwork. Okay. They're asking, someone, Amatool's asking about research intensive, if it's a research intensive program.
I can hop in there if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think an important thing about being a student in a program, if you already knew everything in the program, you would need to take the course. So it's a learning process. And, I think that having some experience is good, but equally, you're there to learn. And in terms of if you don't have extensive research experience, that's not a hard no for sure. You're there to learn. You're there to learn these skills. We have courses in qualitative methods, quantitative methods, and equally, what types of past work experience in the government sector are typically considered relevant. It can be anything and everything. There's not a specific job per se that we're looking for. It's how you can sort of weave the narrative of what you've done in the past to what you want to do in the future, and how this program is relevant to that. So it could be a ton of different things. And this is something that you can really articulate in your letter of intent and your statements, is how what you've done is related to this program, and how you can really incorporate that in a meaningful way. And again, as I say, tell your story. Tell how your experience is unique, and how you can add value to the program, and that sort of thing.
All right, a question about the schedule. Maybe Morgan, would you the hours? Number of hours of lectures and per week? Yeah.
Yes. So previously the classes were 4 hours long, but I think this year it's the first year that, or the previous school year, they've been doing 3-hour long lectures. So 3 hours is still long, but not as long as 4. So we'll take that. The courses are Monday through Thursday in your first year. They will be scheduled, unless something changes, but for me, they were scheduled from, was it 9 a.m. to 12? And then in the second year, the classes are more scheduled in the afternoon. So whatever, what's 3 times 4? 12. You'll be spending 12 hours in class. And then there's, of course, readings and schoolwork to be doing outside of class. But the 3-day weekend is super nice, and the clear afternoons as well, if you have a part-time job or to get ahead on your schoolwork.
The question about jobs outside of government. So yeah, there's jobs. You've seen the students go to nonprofit NGOs, think tanks, research institutes, private sector, consulting. So within government, usually, it's the federal government or provincial governments or municipal governments, the Metro Vancouver Regional District, various Indigenous governments. Outside, it would be like nonprofits such as BC Nonprofit Housing, First Nation organizations, so First Nations health authorities or one of the health authorities. West Coast Environmental Law as an example. And then research institutes, SFU Center for Dialogue is one, the Maurice J. Waugh Center for Dialogue. There's another example, the Fraser Basin Council, private sector consulting firms like Deloitte, PwC, KPMG. We've seen students go there, and other consulting firms across Canada or across the world. So lots of jobs out there. It's a growing area. But yeah, we have a brand new co-op coordinator starting in a couple weeks, and she's very connected to some of these institutions and could help you find work, whether it be co-op placements or jobs after graduation. So we're here to help and get you placed.
Yeah, to add to that, like I think like the question is like what kind of job title specifically, it really can be a variety. Like the way that I look at it is that you're getting a lot of skill sets that can be applied to different things, like quantitative research skill sets can be applied to any number of jobs, and I think I think a lot of it is how you frame it up in the job application. Like if you have a methodological skill set to be able to answer questions using rigorous research methods, you can apply that to any number of jobs. So it really, the scope, it's definitely not just limited to like policy jobs or as Brian mentioned, it can be any number of one. It really comes down to how you frame up the skills that you've learned in the program in a way that is relevant to that job. So I realize that's a very vague and not particularly helpful answer, but
some specific like job titles that we've seen students go into in the government, like policy analyst is kind of a general one. Strategic planner, or it could be a budget officer. You could be a policy researcher for an NGO, project coordinator, data analyst, maybe social policy, health or housing, and that sort of area. Policy research associate is one. Public affairs analyst. So the list goes on and on. There's quite a few. I'm just looking off a list that of alumni and where they're at, and that's where I got sort of those titles from. But yeah, please connect with us, and we can talk about a specific sort of industry and possibly connect you to an alumni as well.
yeah, it's expanding on the job thing. I think it's look at the jobs you want to have, and then look at the program and think about how you can use the program as a mechanism to get to that next job. I think of grad school as a stepping stone into whatever job you want to get next, and think about that job, what you'd like to be doing in 2 years' time, and how the program can help you get there, and then you can sort of tailor like the type of project that you do and that sort of thing, the courses you take to achieve that. So
we have a great connection with our alumni. So I get job postings from alumni, at least 2 or 3 per week, and I circulate it to our students. And so yeah, that way, you have a connection, one foot in the door, and you can work directly with the alumni to put in your application and try to get the job. But yeah, that's really important. We have hundreds and hundreds of alumni that sort of give back to the program and help students find work. 3 letters are mandatory, so they don't have to be from academic sources. We do like at least 1 or 2 from former professors, but we don't accept any personal recommendation letters like from family members or friends, unless they were your supervisor or manager at one point. But yeah, that is the minimum.
Yeah, one thing with that, I would say that in choosing who's going to write a reference letter, choose a person that knows you the best. It's not particularly helpful if you got a good grade in a class as an undergrad. There's 500 students, and you ask for a reference letter, and then the prof writes you a letter. It's like, oh yeah, they got a good grade, but they don't know you at all. Whereas if you have somebody who has can speak to your what makes you unique in terms of like your skill sets and that sort of thing, that is much more helpful for the admissions committee. So yeah, having people that know you well is better than a prof that you got a good grade in their class and just reiterating that you got a good grade. Yeah, I would say that with the follow question, owning your own business out of school, these can be from people that just know you. Maybe clients that you work with, or people that can speak to your skill sets, that sort of thing. It doesn't need to be a prof. Doesn't need to be. It's relevant to your situation, and that's something that you can highlight in your application. It's like, yeah, I've been self-employed with my own business, and that's why my references are from these people. Again, we're not looking for like a specific cookie cutter application. We're looking for the perspectives that you bring and what you bring to the table in terms of being able to get through the program successfully, being able to add value to the program, and contributing to the cohort as well. So having business experience and being out of school for a while, that adds a different layer that expands the perspectives that are brought to the table in terms of the cohort.
I'm going to pop my email into the chat just in case anyone has questions that pop up later for them about the student experience. You can feel free to email me. I'd be happy to send my insights over.
Sure. And the link that has been posted in there, that's it's a direct link to my grad chair office hours. So you can pop a meeting into my calendar. It's a live calendar, so you can pop a meeting into my calendar, and we can meet on Zoom, have a chit chat. And again, if you have any questions that come up after this.
And at any point, if you want to pop in and see me and tour the campus, meet some of the staff, we're totally open to that. So. And there's a question about TA or RA opportunities. Yeah, for TA opportunities, we do circulate job postings for TA-ships at least once or twice a term. They're usually we do hire TAs for example, Policy 200. We hired a TA. That's our undergraduate policy course. There are also other opportunities with urban studies or other Faculty of Arts and Social Science courses, undergrad courses. So quite a few opportunities. RA-ships, it's best to connect with your instructors or other faculty members that have research grants and things like that allow for hiring of RAs, and talk about your research interests and go from there. But yeah, there are some RA opportunities as well.
I think a final bit of advice that I have is if you are interested in conducting original research and doing the capstone route, I would strongly suggest looking into applying for SHRC earlier rather than later. Every school gets like a set number of awards to give out, and the chances, I would say, are better than you might think to get it or to be put on like a wait list for it. So if you're interested in, doing something more research intensive, the funding is there, but it's a good idea to start working on that application soon for your best chances.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm very happy to look at people's applications. And if you want to apply to SHRC, the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council, I'm happy to work with you to put together a strong application. And typically we have a few students every year that get them. And it looks really good on your CV. if you get one of those. And it's also nice to have money in your pocket. So win-win.
Those awards are quite significant. They're roughly around 27,000 a year.
I think they're tax-free.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, if there are no other questions, the classic thing that happens is we close down the Zoom and then you think of a question. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to either me, Morgan or Brian, and we've got if you want to speak with me directly, something that takes a little bit more time than an email to explain. Pop a meeting in my calendar using that Calendly link, and otherwise, we do sincerely hope you will apply. And if you have any questions about whether or not you feel as though you'll be a strong candidate, definitely fire away. And I think it's really important from my perspective that tell your story and speak to why you're interested and let the passion that you have for public policy come through in your application. And I think that's like the best way to convey to the people on the admissions committee, one of whom is me, that you'd be a good fit and that you'd add value to the program and you'd be great to have on board. Yeah, the link is in there. Thanks so much for joining. Don't be a stranger. Feel free to reach out. And I hope to see many of these names pop up later in the year when we're reviewing applications.